It's gonna be a good one.
It's gonna be a good one.
Definitely a different type of process.
Cut down or freeze up.
Being a coach's son.
Jackson, of course, they keep retooling. One stolen base, a hit by pitch. Oh my goodness. Hello, everyone. Welcome inside the Red Earth Production Studios for this edition of YBMcast, powered by Game 7 Baseball, Game7Baseball.com. All kinds of fall ball stuff going on. It's starting. Everybody's starting to, it's all cooling down and all that. Well, I don't know if it's cooling down. It did for a moment, but we'll see. But two Branson dates. You got one at Ballparks of America, one at the Recplex. Got a date at here in O'Fallon at Ozzy's. 8 Warrenton dates. So make sure you go to Game7Baseball.com. And again, fall ball is about, going out and just getting some extra swings, just keeping yourself in tune. Get your buddies together. Go get some shirts that says Snot Rockets or We Hit Dingers or something like that. And go play some baseball for some fun, right? That's what it's about. That's what you should do. That's fall ball. Game7Baseball.com. Today on Baseball Talk, joining me on the show here is our good friend, been a contributor from time to time, Mr. Kent Getsee. Mr. Kent Getsee runs the Washington Post 218 American Legion program, and he's taken on the monumental task of hosting the Mid-South Regionals for the last 2 years. Kent, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
As always. On the other side, it is the man. It is Mitchy the Kid, Hitting Zone podcast host and regular contributor to the Youth Baseball Midwest channel. Mitch, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing good. I'm actually, obviously, you can see I'm inside the facility right now. It's got actually a group of college kids I'm working with, and so I'm happy to jump on here for a ton of reasons. And I'm excited about this call or podcast.
A former Thoman Booth Post 338 big swinger, right?
Yeah, if I was looking to see if I still had any of my 338 hats, and I don't. It's a bummer because they're no longer. I don't know if they'll come back or not. But 338 was a special group back then. I played in the late 90s, and I think in the early 2000s it kind of started to, talent-wise started to change. But I played in the late 90s, and we had a blast. We had quite a few players move on and play college baseball. And, Legion back then was something that it was special to be a part of. You were one of the elite players kind of in the area, and it really separated people from kind of the recreational level, which was still good baseball. A lot of your high school kids still played on it. So, recreational baseball was the alternative, and you didn't have what you have now. But Legion was a big part of the 4 years of my high school career that I'll never forget. Whether it was the fish fries, the camaraderie that we had, it built an insane amount of rivalry. I loved every piece of Legion baseball when I had a chance to play it.
I'll tell you what, Kent, and that's some of the things that we talk about still today, and I think a lot of those things are come back. Your post, I have still a lot of involvement in what you guys are doing, and your group, they still put together, and we're seeing a lot of that here. Moberly and yourself, both these teams are going to be representing Missouri, quality clubs, and a lot of kids moving on to college.
Yeah, I mean, it's for us in Washington, it's it's a labor of love. When we got basically this year, we had 4 teams again. It's a full community effort. To Mitch's point, we're still doing all those things, fish fries and stuff like that. Like, we just have people that we can we just tap and they come running. We have I have some people coming out. They're going to do pulled pork. That's going to be on Wednesday. We're going to do fried fish on Thursday, and then wings on Friday. I mean, but it's not an everyday thing. Obviously, this is a special occasion. But a lot of times, like when we have tournaments, like Memorial Weekend and things like that, we still have that. So, um, not every program is like that. Brian,
Go ahead. I'm sorry, but we'd
my
lost your
back.
sound for a minute. You're back.
Yeah, yeah. So, the secret sauce really is longevity of people within the framework of the program. When you have transient, like a dad comes in and says, "Oh, let me coach this Legion team, and I'll take a freshman, junior, senior, gone." We just don't have that. But we love it, and we're still trying to, keep the dream alive.
Absolutely. And, Legion is, folks, if you don't know, go to the Missouri American Legion baseball.org. Go check it out. There's places around. It's starting to, there, Kent and the commission, with Jason Howard. You got Mark Lewis down in zone 4. You got Connor Spinagle over in zone 2. These guys have been working hard over the past year, breathing life back in, bringing those things, bringing new thoughts. And we did the state championships again this year, live streamed it from Sedalia. And it was a lot of good baseball being played. And I think we're looking forward to seeing what's going to happen with this Mid-South, what goes next, and what's bringing up for 2026. It's curious to me, Kent. Zone 3 has been something, that has been a push, but it seems like this year there's a lot of baseball being played, a lot of teams coming back and forth and playing down there. Talk to us a little bit about what's going on down there in the Southwest.
Yeah, I mean, as a group on the commission, as you mentioned, I'm a Zone 1 commissioner. We've got Zone 1, Zone 2, and Zone 4 that are thriving. Zone 3 is really not. We have people there, but the question is, what can we do to grow teams down there? So, you have to think a little bit differently. I mean, in some cases you want to be able to, have a high school be able to bring their entire team in, like kind of like Union did, this year. And so, letting them understand that that's an option open to them is a big thing. Because they have a league going on down there where it's all high school coaches basically, but they don't really have any framework. There's no rules. They just run guys in and out. They do whatever they want just to get guys on the field. And I believe to this day, it's in my core that you play every game. You're playing either to win or you're playing for a title, and that's what they would have open to them. They could play for a junior state title. They could play for a senior state title, if they would get involved. But, those are things that is just changing mindsets.
Mitch, your thoughts on that, buddy?
Well, I mean, why do you play the game? This is what one of my biggest problem is, and you got to remember that I'm part of an organization that has high school athletes, and I'm still saying this because I think there is much more value into playing for something, and I don't see enough of that right now in the youth sports, whether that's grade school, middle school, or high school. When you have these summer tournaments, what are you really playing for? So what motivates you? What drives you? I'm not saying that you can't play in these tournaments, but there's nothing at the end that tells you that you're a champion at something. This is why I love high school sports and like high school baseball. And for people to say like, high school baseball is dead or whatever the case may be, like that's a crock to me, because you have a chance to represent something that very few people do get a chance to and win a state tournament. I mean, I had a part of a really good 338 and District 10 was tough. And we end up getting into the Farmington schools and things like that. And they take us out. And, next year when you see Farmington, you want to go out and you wanted to beat them. And, there's none of that anymore. And I think like that's a big deal because what do you get in college? Whether you're at a junior college or you're at a NAIA school, you have rivalry and you better compete your tail off. And I have a hard time on understanding why a doubleheader on a Saturday, and you're playing in 100-degree weather, why that's motivating. And if, to me, like, that's a big change between what I think Legion can represent and what we should think about. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't have these tournaments or these clubs need to, send everybody to Legion baseball. I think everybody can win here. But I love what Legion represents and a chance to play in something like you're going to have this week out at Rosnick.
Yeah.
Just, if I could just jump in and just dovetail onto what Mitch said, the aspect to Legion this is again, it's one man's opinion, it's high school baseball on steroids, because when you play high school baseball, there's one championship and it's for all ages, right? Where we actually have a freshman state tournament, a junior state tournament, and a senior state tournament. So even those younger guys get to play with some extra juice in the game to try to win a state title. And it's pretty cool when they do it.
Yeah, and that St. Gen team down there was pretty good. Yeah, so, and it's good it's high quality baseball. And look, I think, when you're talking about these things and overall, and I don't want to get too far afield here because I want to get to some of the Mid-South and we'll look at some of these things, but I always like to bring these topics up because I think baseball, I think there's a lot of times people are kind of lost in the ether, for lack of a better way to put it. And there's not a lot of direction. Do I go play here? Do I go play there? What's it? And I don't think there's anybody really guiding anybody to, well, what do you want to accomplish? What's your goals? We're not setting goals first and then looking at where do I best fit in and who is the coach that I like or that I believe is going to best help me succeed. And I think those are where some of those things get lost. And I mean, there's a lot of kids. I got a chance to talk to a lot of the kids from Washington down at the zone tournament. I like to just come around and sometimes just talk to the kids. You get a feel for what's going on. They're pretty honest most of the time, as far as when you're talking, just chatting it up with them. And they have a great feel. These are kids that are working hard. It's really good baseball players from Washington High School, St. Francis Borgia, kids that are competing every year in the GAC, one of the top conferences in the state. Borgia usually they're competing for in district for a district championship. I think it was kind of a bummer they got bumped up to Class 6, man. I felt bad for Coach Struckoff there, man. That was a tough task right there, boy. Woohoo!
Mm-hmm.
And they had
a small school like that.
Yeah, man. And that's those championship points for a private school. It's kind of tough, but they competed, they battled, they didn't make excuses. And you see that in these kids. And I think that, to me, Kent, is something I think that is lacking overall, is finding, we understand this 1% of players, but 99% of the players still want to play baseball somewhere and still want that opportunity. Recruiting, where do you go? How do you do it? And I think that's where the direction needs to be handled better.
Brian, what I would say to that point is, to your viewership, right? You've got these young men that are playing in 12U, 13U, even some, you could start looking at 11U. They should, in my opinion, if they wanted to really kind of get into, another level, those younger teams right there, those ages I just mentioned, should start looking at, okay, what do I need to do to start a Legion team in my community? Or how do I get into a program that already exists, the St. Peter's, the Wentzvilles, the what have you, because that is what's going to bring more players in and more growth. I mean, to say tomorrow that like all the players from Timberland are going to go out, they're already playing high school baseball, they're already on a Gamers team, they're already on a Rawlings Tigers team. They're not just going to make a switch over, right? Because they're already playing with some of their buddies. But you have to start at that back level and get those teams, those players that say we want to play together, but we can play together and play for something is, what kind of we've been talking about as far as the commission goes to try to kind of grow, get more players, grow the program more. But we could talk about that all day long.
That's exactly how what I would love to do, and maybe that's another show for the Hitting Zone podcast or something. Because I think
Right.
at the end of the day, like I tried a long time ago to find community. That's what I absolutely love about Legion is community. And again, playing ball with your high school team, it only benefits your high school team. Like if you want to think about it on a selfish level, I coached at Timberland. I'm glad that you brought that up. There's a ton of good players there. Can you imagine if they spent all summer playing together too? What would they
Sure.
be like? Moving into the next year, building relationships, getting to know each other a little bit better. That would have been something that would have been phenomenal to do. And you're correct, the 12 and 13s. I think where Legion has to work with like facilities, and I'll say this for my space. I think the thing that's attractive to club ball is the ability to have training opportunities leading into high school. And I think that could be a relationship between facilities and Legion ball that, training's always still there. You don't need to go pay $4,500. It is not a great investment for the average athlete to spend that kind of cash every single season and then turn around and may or may not still play college baseball. I'm sorry, there's better opportunities. I am a club owner. I know I'm kicking myself right in the junk, but at the end of the day, there's got to be a better solution because I think Legion baseball to be able to play on a Tuesday, a Thursday, a Saturday, a Monday, that has a way more value than trying to play 3 games in 28 hours. You're talking
Right.
about risking injuries, all of these different things. And then you have days off, the weekends off. I haven't taken my boat out in 4 years in the summer. I would love to
Right.
do that.
Yeah,
I would be happy to be a Legion coach if we could put that together. Just the thing is, I love Legion baseball. And for somebody to say, well, Wentzville's trash or this, that, and the other, no, the community is not rallying behind it.
Right. I was just gonna, make a point here that we literally just hit the jackpot here in Washington, Missouri, because we wanted that very thing. Pretty much the only cage in town was my own, the one that I have in my office. So we were all, I would have guys come and we do winter. We'd have to come 2 or 3 at a time. But Travis Griffin just opened Griffin Baseball here in Washington. And they've got, I'm sure it's similar to what you got there, 12 cages, TrackMan, hack attacks, they got it all. And, we're going to do our winter training there. So that's going to be a next level thing for us in Washington, which is obviously good.
Oh, now we can
Everybody
come.
loves it, right?
Now we can come and do the winter workout tour there, Kent.
Yeah. Because my cage is a little sketchy, but it works.
It's an opportunity.
It's been serviceable.
That's all you can get.
It's been serviceable since my son was started playing. I've had my own cage here in Washington, Missouri since 2001.
Oh, wow.
So it was pretty nice of Travis to finally put some cages in here.
And I think these are things that are accessible. I like that because, everybody knows to get better, it is about development. And then you go and play the game to compete. You go to practice and you work on the things that you knew and then take those things and learn how to apply what you've worked on in practice in the cages in that development on the field. Am I getting better? And gauging those things. And maybe if you're not getting better, maybe you ought to think about who you're training with, what's the issues and whatnot, and having real conversations. I think sometimes that's one of the things I like about this. People might say, well, you agree. People can agree, disagree with conversations and this and that. And I don't think anybody, like you said, one man's opinion. That's not an opinion. That's a thought that you've had based on your experience over time, Kent. An opinion is an emotional outburst sometimes that somebody throws out there. That's what I think of opinions. But what you've brought here is a well thought out experience that you've had over how many years of baseball. And I think that's a difference. And that's what we need to start looking at and thinking about when somebody talks is listen to what they say. That's your experience is talking. It's what you've experienced and what you've grown over the past however many years. And I think whether you agree or disagree with the thought, that's okay. But this is where the conversations come into play.
Yeah, so one thing about having a facility like you have, Mitch, like we just, got is, we can actually have winter workouts and we're actually helping that high school team, right? Because that's stuff that they actually cannot do. Whereas we could say, hey, you're on a Legion team. We can practice every Sunday for 12 weeks, 14 weeks leading up to the high school season. And, not only help ourselves, obviously, and, get our players to be a part of our program, but we're also helping both of those high schools that we're feeding, that are also feeding us. You can look at it a two-way street. So, I think, like you're saying, Mitch, the facilities are the way to go. And if you can have that team that's a local team and they go to that facility, I mean, I don't think you could find a better win if you tried to, create it out of the blue.
Yeah, it goes back to value and what we're offering to our families. And with the cost of doing business, it's, you can see it in the big league level right now with the Cardinals, right? Fans aren't going. They're trying to speak out for whatever reason. I'm not a fan of that because I think there's a lot to be watched at the big league club, but fans are frustrated, right? And people are getting frustrated with the cost of doing business. And, some of this may be created because of the demand. So, you see these facilities pop up, organizations pop up all the time. But at the end of the day, what's the goal? And I wanted to talk about this a little bit more before we get into what, this week's about, or even this call. But the thing about high school baseball is when I get kids in the summertime, they are absolutely crushing high school. And then they get to summertime baseball and then they kind of, they regress a little bit or whatever I'm trying to say there. They're not as good as they are in their high school seasons. And I always ask why. They never give me an answer. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm not, I don't see as many pitches or whatever. And I'm like, exactly. In high school, you practice 6 days a week or you're playing 6 days a week. And it may not be stressful practices, but maybe you're an hour of hitting one day because Mondays are stretch days, recovery days. Then you play on Tuesday, you recover Wednesday, then you recover Thursday, hit it on Thursday. You're doing something consistently, right? And every time that you do something consistently, guess what happens? You magically get better. I say magically, but that's sarcasm. And Legion, for me, that's what it was about, right? Like you played on Tuesday, you didn't have no days off. You have a Sunday off, you get Monday off like a college routine. You're busting your tail for 6 days a week and you get Monday off. And it's like, well, why all of a sudden are these kids better or getting better?
Mm-hmm.
It's because they have opportunities every single day to work on their craft. It does not have to be 3 hours of practice. Matter of fact, it's probably a waste of time at some point during the week because you need to recover. That's what I loved about Legion baseball. Our coach practiced. Now, it was different when I played Legion. We actually couldn't have winter workouts and stuff. There was still a very big Misha hold on high school back then, and we literally couldn't even try out till our baseball season was over. So tryouts happened after baseball season happened, which now I think they can happen almost a year prior, or in the fall or something like that, right?
Right. We can have one tryout on a Sunday in the fall and in the spring.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, very different. But that's the thing is every one of these kids have an opportunity to get trained by somebody. They don't have to do this. And again, I am not taking business models away from anybody that's out there that's a facility owner, an organization owner. But there's opportunities that we can develop our athletes much, much better. And, think about the ROI.
Yeah.
What is, because this is an investment.
Sure.
Speaking of which, Mitch, we've got Mitch Thomas, Kent Getsee joining us on the Prime Sports call-in link. Go check out primesportsmw.com. Get your baseball gear. In fact, the American Legion store is right there on the webpage, MissouriAmericanLegionBaseball.org. Go to the store. That's Prime Sports store. They'll get you hooked up with all your gear. Appreciate Prime Sports and what they do in our partnership with Youth Baseball Midwest. And that's the thing. I've said this for a long time. I know it ruffles some of the old timers' feathers. I really, but Legion Baseball is the oldest club baseball there is. And it's just a matter. We separate these things, and we really don't know really kind of what we're talking about. It is club baseball. Kent just said he's had 4 teams this year. And for a while, he's had 2 freshmen, a junior, and a senior team, and those kids feed up through that. That's a club. It's an organization. And it's like anything else. It just depends on where you want to play. What's the best fit for you? Where do you work? And I think that's got to be to the parents and what we're doing and what Legion Baseball is doing now to start getting back, as you said, with some of the 11, 12, 13-year-olds. Do you make those decisions? That doesn't mean somebody can't go play for the Rawlings Tigers or the Gamers or whatever your fit, whatever you think is best. People have to make their decisions what they believe is best for their kid. And I don't ever tell parents it's up to you. But you have to understand that there are plenty of opportunities with really quality coaches. Kent's been doing it a long time. The Ellsbury program's got quality coaches. I'm just talking District 9 because that's what we're talking about there. And the St. Peter's program, Rick Reno, been doing it for a long time. Quality program. Andy Cook, the new 19U coach there. I really like Andy, what he's doing there. A lot of positive stuff. I think he's got some really good energy and seems like a good guy to play for. And St. Peter's made some noise in the zone tournament this year. Took down Ellsbury, got to the semifinals. So, you got to look at the process and what we're getting ready to look at here coming into the Mid-South regionals with some really, this is the icing on top, in my opinion. Teams coming from Oklahoma, Louisiana, Tennessee, Arkansas, Kansas, Mississippi, and of course 2 from right here in Missouri. Kent, did you play any of these teams? I know you have in the past. Did you get into any of the tournaments with some of these teams?
Well, 4 of the teams in the tournament are returners from last year.
Yeah.
So we did play the Oklahoma team. Yeah, so we played the Oklahoma team. So, it's other than that, no, we haven't played any of these teams. So,
Okay.
Moberly, obviously, we played, who is the state champion. They're the ones that knocked us out of the zone tournament. So, they're a good team. It's going to be a really weird situation if we end up playing each other because I think they have to win. They have to win, lose, and we have to lose, win, something like that. Or vice versa for us to end up facing each other. So, they're going to get to see some different teams, and so will we.
Absolutely. The Bossier Phillies out of Louisiana. Folks, I want to share something with you here. Bossier Phillies, they got a team ERA of $1.69. Team
play.
Yeah. Team batting average, opponent's batting average is $1.77. Their offense as a team slashed 366, 506, and they're slugging 556. This team is loaded for bear. I think they're, if you want to seed teams, Kent, I would probably consider them. It's on paper. This is on paper, folks. You got to play the games. And anybody will tell you you can beat somebody. But on paper, My goodness. How do you beat
Yeah,
that team?
I mean, they basically have their entire team back from last year. I think they have their entire team plus a college pitcher.
Yeah.
They should be pretty good. However, just let's keep things in perspective here. And I think everybody that was at the zone tournament thought Ellsbury was going to win the zone tournament.
Agreed. And, they brought a lot of their guys back and had the pitching and whatnot, but Moberly, and Ellsbury, again, St. Peter's took them down. And that's
right.
Again, that's where it goes to. And to your point, the one kid that I think has come back, I think he from Bossier, he was the starting first baseman at Louisiana Tech last year.
Right.
So
I mean, listen, they've got some players. There's no doubt about it. They're the defending champions. They deserve. Coach Peavy has been nothing but awesome. He has a question. He messages me. He's super nice, super thankful. They're a worthy champion. There's no doubt about it.
The Mountain Home team, what do you think of them, Kent? Mountain Home, Arkansas.
Well, few teams I see play that many games. Very few. I mean, I think they played 51 games already. So that's impressive. But they're a little bit like those teams on the western side of the state. I think they play a lot of doubleheaders. They play a lot of tournaments and stuff. So you end up stacking a lot of games if you got a pretty good team. You get into the weekends. Seems like they're going to be a pretty good team. I know one of their pitchers is on a golf scholarship, so he's not coming. He's going to play golf. So I found that out yesterday. I thought that was kind of crazy. It's one more week. He's been with that team all year, but whatever. So I don't know. Teams play differently in different states from different parts of the country. The game is the same, but just kind of like, how they develop and how they play is different. And that's one of the cool parts about this tournament. You get to bring them all together and figure it out.
Mitch, the travel part has got to be, I think, the biggest thing. You're coming up on the bus. You're not sleeping in your own bed. These are 17, 18, 19-year-old kids, and if they haven't, you might have some kids that have experienced it to this level if they're coming back maybe from their first year in college, but a lot of them really haven't.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing that you just talked about, Kent. Just these guys got to travel. So what's it going to be like? Sleep? What hotel that you have, and what are those beds going to be like, and what are the evenings going to be like? What's it going to be like waking up? Did you get a good breakfast? Did you, all of those things I think factor. And some people get jacked up to get out of town, and some people don't need that, and some people need music. Literally, all I wanted to ever do was compete, so I didn't go to bed early to, be at max effort or whatever the case may be. It literally was, I have 3.5 seconds to focus for 2.5 hours. You know what I mean? So if I can focus on 3.5 seconds per pitch, per whatever, I'm going to be all right. And I don't need a ton of sleep. I'm sure that maybe by the end of the weekend, I'll probably get a little bit cranky. But if I get a little bit more angered, then I'm going to swing a little bit harder. So, but that's a bigger difference from when I played to like now. People care about some of that stuff way more than we used to, So these kids might come in there, coach might put curfews out, telling them to get, in bed or in their room by 9 o'clock so that they can go out and produce, because it's going to be hot and it's humid here, and again, I love this game. I love the experiences, the travel. There's nothing like spending 10 hours on a bus hanging out with your buddies. But when you get off, probably need to go stretch in the lobby, because I've been on some road trips and playing college and coaching college. And we went on one of them that was like a 19-hour, 20-hour bus ride. And we had to get we were behind. And so we had to get a new driver. So we literally just passed off a new driver, because you can only drive for 10 hours, passed him off, got back on there and kept driving. Ended up being like a 20-hour drive. I got off that bus. I'm going to tell you right now, I was cranky. I was also like 38 years old. I wasn't a kid no more, so I had to deal with that nonsense. And the breakfast was terrible. But at the end of the day, like coach has to deal with the same stuff. So if he goes out there cranky, his kids ain't going to play for him. So traveling does matter. And that'll be interesting because again, the game is the game, and what's going to separate is going to be what's between the ears. You got to have heart in this. You got to have heart and desire in this game. And if you got a team that got 20 guys on it that has more heart than the 5 on the other team, you might be able to scratch a win, and you're going to be able to walk away proud knowing that you gave everything you had to beat that team that's number 1. And good luck. At the end of the day, good luck. But if you ain't got that desire to compete, it's going to be a long day for some of these teams.
Kent, you guys, this is your second year. I don't know that it probably gets easier, but you've got a heck of a quality team. Trent Hendrickson, Joe Buehler's been great with us, answering all questions, been top notch that way. Looking forward to live streaming this event through the weekend. Talk to us about just logistically and the whole scope of bringing, all these teams together just to play some baseball.
Yeah, I mean, if I gave you a list of what's happening as we're on this podcast, you guys would be like number one, you'd order Dr. Phil to come over here and have a chat with us. I mean, today, before I got on this podcast, I had a mower out and I was cutting a wiffle ball field for the wiffle ball game the YMCA is going to put on. While I was doing that, giant pieces of military equipment were being delivered on the grounds of the ballpark. So, we've got a couple sponsors. One of them is Missouri Military Equipment, and they brought all kinds. I mean, I think they're going to bring a cannon out that next. I mean, I've never seen machines so big in my entire life. They're sitting on the grounds. There's a VIP pavilion people can get into that's going to have the live stream that you're going to put on while they can be drinking and eating. And I mean, these guys are out of control, but I love them to death. They're having a great time. The guy that you didn't mention is Eric Volkerding, who's our junior coach. He was out there at 6:30 this morning doing stuff around the grounds. His wife was out there painting our concession stand door. I mean, it's amazing. It's an amazing effort.
I love it.
I love that. I didn't mean to interrupt you there, Brian, but again, it's the community that is Legion. I don't think there's a better crest out there than the Legion crest for all these groups. I know they have their post numbers and stuff, but it's an amazing patch to have been a part of. But again, what is Legion baseball? It represents something much, much bigger than whatever's on the front of that, right? Like you're representing hundreds of years of people fighting for this country. And so it becomes a massive amount of pride to have worn the Legion crest and represent Post 338. We had some of the best old guys, which you talked about that earlier, Brian. I haven't been more proud to have represented people that have fought for this country.
I mean, that's at the core, and we had our paperwork check we did last night, and, we had the guys that are the tournament directors. They tried to stress that to our guys. They were like, well, this is how you stand at attention, and this is how. And while I can understand that some teams would need that, that is something that is fundamentally, what we are about. And, that's one of the reasons that everybody's involved here is because, we do feel that same way.
And just, you're talking about I want to give a shout out to Premier Pitching Performance. Brett Graves going to be sponsoring our broadcast. Right behind Mitch, you see that poster, Go to Athletic. They're going to be providing an award for our player of the game. We're doing interviews with our players of the game. All 15 games, they're providing a link for batting gloves, whatever the case. It's a great. These are seriously good batting gloves, and I want to give a shout out to those guys for coming on board and helping with this and bringing that to bear. Because at the end, these athletes, they're competing. It takes a lot of people to come in here, and you want to make sure that this is a big event. Look, and here's the cool thing. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. But the winner here gets on a plane and gets flown to Shelby, North Carolina. Correct?
That's correct. They don't even get to go home.
That's
That's awesome.
And not to mention, all the games in the World Series are on ESPNU, and I believe the championship game is on ESPN2, if I'm not mistaken. Correct?
That is correct. That is correct. I mean, it's a big deal. I mean, it's a cool thing. I mean, to win it is a pipe dream for most. Because only 8 teams are going to make it every year. You got to have such good fortune throughout the course of the season, and then have that same good fortune during the tournament. But somebody will leave Washington, Missouri, and head to Shelby, North Carolina, or Shelby, and they'll have a good time. There's no doubt about it. Hopefully, it's us.
There you go. Hey, look, and that's the thing. I think that's a fantastic thing. You talk about playing for something, Mitch, and an opportunity that, most kids around the country don't get an opportunity to do. I think those are things, and we talk about baseball building character and those things, life lessons and things you walk through. If you can put together a group of kids that have the same goal and learn how to play as a team, how are we competing together? These are things that when you look at, because all of us at some point stopped playing sports and we went into business, we're doing our things. How do you not want a person of that kind of caliber working for you that knows how to be a member of a team, that can push forward, that can work through adversity, know how to achieve success? And I think we've kind of maybe lost sight of some of those things in the pursuit of just getting to college. Well, how are we growing this? And I think these are the things and lessons sometimes that need to come back to what we're doing here in youth sports.
I couldn't have said that any better. When I think about, what we're going through with club ball and then kind of where Legion's at, and, some people are happy just playing at the next level, or just saying I get a chance to play college baseball. I don't remember ever going to something I just want to be a part of something and that being enough. There was Jameis Winston was on a podcast not too long ago. I don't, it was with like Ryan Clark and some guys. I don't remember. And they asked him if, what he felt about not getting to the Super Bowl until I guess last year as a backup or whatever. And he goes, the only thing I ever dreamed about was making it to the NFL. And that was it. He didn't dream enough. He didn't dream big enough. He didn't dream about winning Super Bowls. He didn't dream about those things. So he didn't work hard enough for it. And I thought that was a very humbling thing to say, because this guy's made millions and he still is willing to admit that he didn't dream big enough. And I understand it's difficult to play college baseball and yet beyond, right? I didn't want to play high school baseball just to be a part of the high school baseball team. I wanted to win. I wanted to win my conference. I had DeSmet. I had Chaminade. I had guys that got drafted, played in the professional baseball ranks that we were pitching against and playing against. I wanted to win. I got fired up to beat these guys. And then when I didn't, I went to Legion and I wanted to win my zones. I wanted to win our districts and then zones. And, think about going to Shelbyville or whatever it was called. Sorry, North Carolina. How awesome that would be. You know what I mean? I don't have that ability as a club coach to take my team to something that special. And I know that PBR and Perfect Game and all these people have great events. I'm not taking away that, but I got goosebumps hearing Kent talk about somebody is leaving this weekend and flying for something so much more important and pretty motivating, if you ask me. And if we're not motivated enough, you probably
Mhm.
aren't going to play college baseball. And
Right.
that tells me why these teams have college kids all over it. It's because of the desires that these young men have. And, sure, there's a place to play for everybody. And if you just want to play baseball and you just want to be a part of something, that's recreational baseball.
Mhm. Right there.
Kent, final thoughts?
What? Let's see. What I would just have everybody that's paying attention here to this podcast would be, um, come out and watch some of these games, and then you'll figure out what we're talking about. I joked around on your show before with my one of my favorite sayings is that you don't know what you don't know, right? You come out and your eyes get opened and you realize it's a new realization that you think that you know everything about baseball because you're playing for X team, and then you come out and you see what we're playing for, the fanfare that goes around it. I guarantee you. I mean, our regional, we're doing a lot of cool, really neat things, but so is every other regional. It's almost like we're in competition with each other who can do the craziest, wildest, coolest thing. Like Ozzie Smith is going to throw out the first pitch on Wednesday night before our game. I mean, doing things to make this special, but then when the games begin and you watch the quality of the game, that is what's should change your mind.
There you go. I love it. Folks, you can catch, if you can't get, I would encourage you. I'm with Kent. If you're in the area, get out to Ronsick Park. It's a great venue for one. It's a great venue to watch baseball in. Coached in it. We've live streamed there. We're going to go back and do it again. Mitch Thomas will be on the call with us through some of these games. We'll have the head coach from St. Francis Borgia, Rob Struckoff, joining us for some calls. We got Dane Goff, head coach at Washington, joining us for some calls. So we've got we're looking forward to it. We're going to have a lot of fun. Check us out. If you can't get there, watch right here on the channel. Everything, of course, you know what it is. All you got to do is click on it and watch it. That's what we're here for. We want to share as much baseball, youth baseball, as we can. And American Legion has been the catalyst for much of youth baseball in America for a long time. And I think they are still a big part of what we do in baseball. So we're thankful to Kent for thinking of us and bringing us on board on this event. We appreciate it very much, Kent, and look forward to working with all you guys.
We'll look forward to having you guys out there.
Absolutely. Mitch, always appreciate it, buddy. You got to get Thoman Booth going again, bro.
Man, listen, I'm a Lake St. Louis Winsvillian now. I love my orange and black. I'm a Rittner guy. I will always. By the way, there's a sophomore there, infielder, that's pretty darn legit. He was at the thing, Brian. That was the kid. That was the kid in the white shirt at the thing this past Saturday.
The home run derby.
Yeah, thank you. Brain fart. That young man that was all over the infield in slides, just making plays left to right. He's a Rittner kid, sophomore. Don't get me wrong. I love Legion baseball. Some of this, it has to make sense. And, unfortunately, I'm not in position to do that. There's enough people in St. Louis that should be able to get Thoman Booth going. But, some of it's I think they've closed the Legion Hall. I could be wrong. The Legion Field, the pool, and all that stuff that was there, I think is getting demoed. I could be wrong on that, but that's something that I've heard. I don't know if that's something you can help me with, but
I haven't heard anything about it.
Yeah, I'm post 338 all day long, but I got to help Wentzville now. They're in my backyard.
There you go.
Yeah,
there you go. All right. Well, hey, folks, thanks for tuning in. If you like what we're doing, please hit the subscribe button, hit the dinger next to it. It's not a home run, but it sure is plenty of notifications for upcoming episodes just like this. baseball talk all the way around. We appreciate our guest, Kent Getsee, Mitch Thomas, for coming on. We'll see you at the ballpark, folks. But for now, everybody have a great day in the Lord. All you pitchers, Mitch.
You give me the pitching?
I knew he was going to do that. No, I'm going to give the pitching to Kent. Kent, some advice for the pitchers.
Stay out of the middle of the plate all day long.
Mitch, what would you do with that pitch in the middle of the plate?
I'm going to park it. Probably foul because my eyes are going to be about this big. And that's probably a pitch I'm going to miss, but I'm going to swing hard. That's for sure.
Just in case you hit it.
That's it.
All right, folks. We'll see you all next time.